Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Film Nerds Hour with your hosts, Noah Sweeto.
And the man who blew Noah Sweeto's mind with some science about an hour ago, Nathaniel Shoemaker. You want to share that, or should we just get to the movie?
No, let's just get to the movie.
No, you don't want to talk about that?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I really don't.
Well, we grew as people, I guess, is all I can really say.
Well, on that note, today we have a special little treat for you today, a movie from Universal Pictures called The Car, which surprisingly is not made by Roger Corman.
No. I thought you were about to be like, we have a special guest. No one. No Cleo this week, unfortunately.
Yes, but
just scheduling things, but
hopefully she will be on the next episode, or so. We have a couple of other hosts that we'll have here too, who will help us with reviewing some of our other podcasts. We got a slate in mind to do some creature features for you guys, and then some of Nathaniel's picks, which by now you guys have definitely heard Battle Royale. At least I hope you have. If you haven't, what's wrong with you?
You're welcome.
That was actually a very good movie, and I'm sure Nathaniel will be pleased to see what I wrote in the description for that episode.
I haven't looked yet because I'm a lazy bastard, but all right.
You'll see if.
Are we past the minute? Can I swear?
Oh yeah, we're past the minute.
Freaking alright. I like how I didn't even swear.
But no.
Onto the car.
I don't even know where to start with this movie. It's definitely a popcorn movie. It's not as bad as its sequel. That's for sure.
Yeah. It involves a motorized vehicle, I think.
Which, for you guys who are doing Christine, which by the time you're hearing this, we've already watched it. We're about to watch it after this episode as we speak.
So Cleo won't be on the next episode because that's going to be us again.
Yes.
Sorry to ruin the magic or whatever.
Yeah, but you guys will definitely get to hear our wonderful host as we do miss her. She's very much found a home in our hearts and this show. So
she's made this show like 90% better. Be honest, Noah. Before her, you and I would frickin' mail it in. We'd both show up drunk and I'd look at you and be like, fix it in post. Like,
yeah, we had some interesting times.
Yeah, exactly. The French. All right.
But for those of you who enjoyed Christine, which we'll be doing next for our next upcoming episode, you guys will definitely love The Car. It is a very, very interesting movie, and it's along the same vein, maybe not as good as Christine, but definitely up there. And it does star James Brolin, and for those of you who don't know who that is Thanos' father. Josh Brolin's dad.
Daddy Thanos. Daddy Thanos sounds wrong. I'm so sorry,
especially with all the Reddit people out there.
Oh God. But how I would sum up this movie, if you're ever wondering what Christine's husband is like, here you go.
Yeah, this car is supernatural as well, so there is no driver behind it. It very much is a Christine. And this came out in 1977, and the adaptation of Christine came out in 87, right?
I think something like when did the book come out is the real question.
Well, yeah, I believe it was inspired by the book, but let's see. Christine came out in 1983, the movie.
Yep, 83. Yep, that sounds right. When the book.
And then...
Please hold while we do research. Do, 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 do.
Oh, dear God.
I apologize, people with headphones who didn't expect that crap.
No, the novel apparently was originally published in April 29th, 1983.
Oh, okay. So they had the idea for Christine before Christine.
Yeah.
Neat. Wait, so the movie Christine and the book came out same year?
Yep.
So that was a rush production.
Because it came out December 9th, 1983, but as it is, it's a classic, and even Rotten Tomatoes has it as a solid 69%, and the audience has it as a solid 63%. Yeah, I see what I see.
We're immature assholes. All right, so The Car.
But no, that's cool. And I know at the beginning of this production, what the director or the screenwriter says is that some of the behind-the-scenes stuff is that he said that they literally, when they pitched this idea, they gave him the script and said, literally think like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Jaws, but on land.
Oh, God.
Is what they told him to do.
Now I'm imagining Jaws with legs. Oh, bad things.
Like Land Shark on SNL?
Oh, God. SNL?
Or
Sci-fi?
SNL. No.
Saturday Night Live?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, yeah.
Land Shark.
Who's the pizza? Yeah. Now I remember what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It was an old sketch.
But yeah, essentially, and it is Universal. And then just looking at that alone with Jaws being from Universal, but I definitely felt it. Before I even looked behind the scenes and saw that that's what they told him, I already felt like that they had Jaws on land vibes.
Yeah, that does sound accurate to me, honestly.
Just from the cinematography, sorry guys, you can probably hear my laptop keying up a little bit here.
Yeah, you'll fix it in post. You're a wizard.
Yeah.
Not to brag.
But definitely... this definitely had some Jaws vibes to it. Mm-hmm. Just from the way the cinematography was, and like some of the scenes where the car is coming in from a distance.
The main character is a male in law enforcement.
Oh yeah, James Brolin plays the
is he a sheriff? I feel like they're all the same rank.
No, because he was under the older man.
Underneath him in rank.
Yeah. So Wade Parent was...
So did he get promoted after...
He got promoted after Sheriff Everett.
Oh, like
Everett Peck.
Like in Super 8.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So like... the main sheriff was played by John Marley. As he played Sheriff Everett Peck. Yeah. And then James Brolin, his character Wade Parent. Apparently... we learned at the beginning of the film that his dad was a former police officer too, so he kind of handed it down. Small town, so it kind of makes sense for that small town setting. That just kind of has a like father like son type of thing.
Yeah, and that's an easy way to like write in like a thing. Like my dad did it before me. You don't have to be like, oh, when I was a kid, I always wanted to be. Like it's less explanatory.
Yeah, and the nice thing about this movie too was that. We had some diversity. The whole police force actually had quite a few women. We had a Native American
woman. She did the... Yep.
She played the old lady. Played an old lady in here. And then Eddie Little Sky is a Native American actor that we're talking about who played Denton.
Yeah, I liked him.
Yeah,
he didn't take any crap. He was good.
Yeah, I liked him. And unfortunately, he died in 1997.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like he was born August 15th, 1926. So.
Wow, 1926. Gosh, that time seems like so long ago, but that's not even 100 years.
It's not. No. It really is a short amount of time.
Really?
But he was very, very good in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah. No, the woman who takes the calls, she was Native American as well.
That's right.
Yeah. And it really says for the toe. Like,
yeah, and considering that this movie was in 1977, and you really didn't see a lot of interracial, both in real life and in movies.
And there's a scene with like an old Native American woman where the Native American cop is like translating for her, and I'm like, that's a thing they didn't need and would have probably been easier to not have it, and B, cool.
But it was nice to see some diversity, even if it's just a small movie.
Especially in the 70s. Good God. In a horror movie in the 70s? Positively?
Yeah. Oh. And that was my thing, because most of the time, back then, you really didn't see... Or they died.
Yeah, diversity in horror movies is usually for murder.
Which, spoiler alert, obviously if you're listening to this, but it was actually nice to not see a whole bunch of just other ethnicities just die for the sake of dying, because they're ethnicities.
A lot of white people die in this film.
Yeah, which I'm not saying is nice, but it was nice to finally see a movie where there's horror and not every ethnicity dies.
Yeah.
I don't think any ethnicities died in this movie.
No.
So that was kind of cool that they actually had some solid characters. And they weren't shittily written either. They actually had some good development to them. And that was kind of nice. So
only people as well. Like, I was surprised we didn't get any dead horses during that.
Yeah, there was no animals in this either.
Well, there were horses, but I'm surprised we didn't get any dead horses,
Yeah, like animals.
Or like a dog getting hit with the car or something.
Yeah. So, I mean, to kind of start this movie off, we basically begin with these two teenage bikers.
That are bicyclists.
Bicyclists. What did I say? Bikers?
Yeah, bikers. That sounds.
Oh yeah,
like...
motorcycles. Yeah, bicyclists. They're just riding on this open road, kind of in the mountains.
Young people.
I haven't seen the full movie of Duel. I've seen the first few minutes of it.
Yeah.
We're definitely gonna have to do it. I'm gonna get that one too. But it kind of like it's the opening of Duel, but if you were more in the mountains. It's a very nice setup.
Which Duel is very desert, but there's not. This looks like.
This is like desert. This
looks like Grand Canyon was where they filmed it.
Yeah. But we open up on them. And, you know, they're just laughing, giggling, having a good time. And then we get the perspective of the inside of the car coming up.
Yeah.
Which was something really neat that they did with this is they had the car, they tinted its windows to be yellow.
Yeah, which is neat.
Yeah, which was really, really cool. It was a very unique and interesting choice to go with for POV. I don't know if they just wanted to do that because of what, but I know like a lot of, like I said, you know what they said with it is like Jaws on land, so I think that's partially why they did.
Because you get the POV footage of the shark in Jaws.
Yeah, and that was mostly because the shark broke all the time.
Oh yeah,
which
just cheaper.
God, we never, and if we wouldn't, who knows how good Jaws would have been? Maybe it would have been because it definitely.
Flop. Yeah.
Well, it definitely did not follow its source material. It did, but not half as much story was involved because you got Matt Hooper, who was having an affair with who's Lorraine Gary played? What is her?
I don't know. No, off the top of my head, I'm not.
Ellen Brody.
Ellen Brody, thank you.
Yeah. Matt Hooper and Ellen Brody are having an affair. They were high school buddies. She went out with his brother or something like that. So
yeah. There's more drama.
Yeah. We'll definitely cover that in a Jaws episode because I think that'd be fun to do.
Yes, we need to do the Jaws series for reasons that you'll know if you have heard other episodes.
Yes.
Because we need Clea to be the tiebreaker.
Oh, yes.
On a discussion.
We're having a poll on the Instagram, too.
We're having a poll?
Yeah. We need to have a poll.
Dude never tells me anything. I just found out we had an Instagram today.
Because I almost forgot we made it.
Yeah. Go follow us on that. We'll link to that.
That's on official page now, so you guys can start following, and we'll start posting more actively on it. And you guys can see like my cool collection of movies and everything.
Yeah.
And some of what Nathaniel has. He's got some awesome books collection. So he's the he's the more bookworm guy, but he's got some really cool stuff in his collection too.
Yeah.
So
like as far like there's bookworms. If it's like a standard worm, I'm one of the worms from Dune. As far as like bookworm goes,
and there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
I wish that I could say that I was more of a reader, but I got more into film.
Yeah,
but there are some really good books out there.
Escapism, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello to anyone who's either listening on Anchor or Spotify.
Yep, whichever one you guys have, and then we're thinking about maybe moving also the podcast and uploading episodes on a YouTube channel.
Yeah, let us know what you think of that.
Yep.
Yeah. Or if this is the future and you're on somewhere else.
Yeah, and I think what we'll do for future episodes is I really want to start doing a poll. So I think if we get some movies, we can do polls for what we want to see for weekly episodes if people want to do them, or if we end up doing like 2
as
a
the
week.
Fan base grows.
Yeah.
All 28 of you currently, at the time of this recording. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? But back with the car, the kind of idea that they did something Jaws, I like the idea. Mm-hmm. I like that idea a lot. And
Me too.
This is another case that the car that they used for the film, kind of like Back to the Future, was not that popular.
No. What model was that car? Because I swear I've never seen one in my life.
I'm trying to remember.
Looked like if a hearse took steroids. We will wait one moment while he is Googling things.
I'm trying to find it.
Welcome to good Nathaniel noises.
Well, now we're just doing some weird stuff. Who knows what they're going to think now? I'm trying to find
true.
Why is it so hard to find this?
To find the model of the car in the car.
Yeah, what kind of views is these? A Lincoln Continental Mark III Black.
Ooh, that sounds cooler.
It does.
Yeah.
And I know that they didn't really know what to do for the car design, so they decided to just go with black, and they said that was a kind of a lighter... It was a heavier car, and it kind of looks intimidating. It looks like a very nice car, but it's not something you'd want to see.
Yeah, I mean, in Christine, they went with red, which was intimidating, too. But I feel like in this instance, black is more intimidating.
Well, they were thinking, what could we do for color? And they were like, okay, dark blue and stuff, it wouldn't be the same.
No.
There's always something, because black is the unknown. So it's like whenever you see darkness, it's the unknown. And I feel like a fiery red was appropriate for Christine, considering it was also a girl.
Saucy lady.
Yeah, which I know a lot of people. The funny thing about this movie, too, is that they finally decided to release it on Blu-ray and give it a re-release, because it wasn't popular in the time, but it did gain a bit of cult following. Now, there is its unpopular sequel, The Car Road to Revenge, which is absolutely a pathetic excuse for a sequel. I love my movies, and I don't usually tear movies apart, but I'm sorry. The car sequel, Road to Revenge, was so awful. It was like if you took Terminator and Cyberpunk and the car, rolled it into one. It's one of those sequels where it was a, why would you even bother?
Yeah.
And definitely a sequel that we did not need.
It's baiting, dude. They got the rights to the thing, so they could be like, oh, people who like that movie will watch ours for the pure purpose of it.
And it was an FU, really. I saw it at Walmart. It's definitely earned its direct-to-DVD.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to talk about any Universal movies like Tremors looks like an absolute masterpiece, especially with 5 and 6. Their graphic quality was very well done. Like, these movies for home video, I was surprised that Tremors 5 wasn't released in theaters.
Exactly.
For their budget. But, yeah, this is definitely one of Universal's. That was one of Universal's... definitely belonged on home DVD. The acting was good in it. The actors were good, but the story was just so badly written. And I know a lot of people felt like the car was badly written, but the car had a lot of potential.
Yeah.
I just think that because, like what the creators said about this movie is recently, kind of like earlier, a couple of years ago, is that they were like, we're glad that it gained a cult following.
Yeah.
And that, they felt like it could have been better too, but at the same time they agree. They didn't really know what to do, because there is only so much you can do in 1977 with practical effects.
Exactly. I love that answer. We didn't know what we were doing.
Well, it's kind of like the Black Hole. They didn't have an ending.
No.
They didn't know what they were doing, because they were like, well, I wasn't thinking that far ahead. We didn't even think it was going to make it this far.
Where can, if people want to watch The Car?
The Car, you can watch both of them and its sequel. You can watch The Car and its sequel on Netflix currently for this month.
Video, yeah.
It's
only for this month?
Yeah, the month that we're recording it. So who knows if it'll be back up there.
Yeah. Oh, it's only in August they have it released?
I think so. It might stay on there longer. So the time that we're recording this video, they have it on there. That may change. I think Prime has it. So just keep an eye on Netflix, because I know a lot of the time some of these movies will come and go, but they do come back when they're lower rent.
Mm-hmm. Well, and like if you have, I'll plug them, but they're not sponsoring us. NordVPN, do you know what that is?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's like an internet security thing, and a feature they have is you can change like localization of where your computer is. So like if you're like, I've watched everything on Netflix in America, let's see in Italy what Netflix is there, what programs, and you can watch stuff from other countries too.
That's nice.
Yeah, and it sounds illegal, but it's not, apparently, because it's a feature the company offers. So,
well, I mean, and why do they get different stuff? I mean, it just depends. You're still paying for the membership, though, too, so it shouldn't be.
It has to deal with, like, localization. Like, the Kamen Rider series isn't exactly going to get a lot of
probably
in America.
Probably has rights things, too, because I know that, like, my friends up in Canada, I got a couple friends in Canada, theirs kind of alternate from America, and sometimes they'll get, next month they'll flip-flop what they get. We'll get it, what they had, and then we get what they had. So that's kind of cool. But definitely for sure, if you guys want to rent this, it's you can get it on YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Vudu, Amazon Prime. Definitely, I know that a lot of people aren't like me, where they'll just buy a movie just because it looks good.
Yeah.
I figure, if I'm going to like it, then why spend $4 renting it when I could just have it, and then if we ever want to review it. And you never know. For me, I love movies, so having a B-rated movie night, if I can get it super, super cheap.
Yeah, it looks nice on the shelf. What can you say? It's a good conversation piece.
Yeah. But then going into its plot a little bit more.
Yeah. We got the love interest. I really liked her.
Yeah, this was nice. After the two teenagers are chased by the car, they get knocked off a bridge.
One gets knocked off a bridge. One, she kind of like just...
She kind of got smushed in between the bridge, and then her bike kind of flipped her off.
Yeah, the wheel was really messed. But the one guy, he got straight thrown off a bridge.
Yep, he got straight thrown off the bridge, which Treehouse of 425 or 27, I think, of The Simpsons has in their opening. They have a parody of that where Maggie is actually driving the demon car from the car.
Yeah, at Millhouse.
Yeah, and he gets thrown off a bridge, so that was kind of cool. And just a note, there is no driver in this car. It is a
sentient car.
Yeah,
and if
Christine.
And if you're wondering, oh well, he was probably fine being thrown off a bridge because there was water. No, actually.
No, this was straight desert. This was just a getting car. So, yeah, that was not a good death.
good first two killed us. Way to open the first 5 minutes. Yeah.
Which is something that, it's not one of those things that you think terrifying now, but it is one of those things like when I'm driving, I personally always get paranoid that somebody's following me.
Oh,
so
God.
to imagine being on a bike in a rural area and to just see a car coming up behind you, especially when it's speeding up.
Yeah, well,
and they see you.
I've had experiences with road ragers. Those guys scare the crap out of me.
Yeah, because they're in a death machine.
Well, they act like they've got nothing to lose.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And it's a very terrifying thing when you really think about it, especially when nobody's around.
Because that new Russell Crowe movie about road rage is coming out soon, isn't it?
I don't know.
Unhinged? Yeah.
Is that what it's about?
Yeah, it's about road rage.
Huh.
Like, he's straight up, like, she honks at him, and for the rest of the movie, he, like, follows her home and, like, attacks her in her house and all this stuff.
It's like a Karen movie, but...
Yeah. I was watching it, and it legitimately scared me, because I'm like, that could have happened to me. Well,
there was one dude who followed this Karen home who cut him off and flipped him off.
Mm-hmm.
And he followed her and was like, why did you do that? Didn't do anything, just recorded her, wanted to see her response. And then she breaks down going, he's attacking me! And everybody comes out, and he's literally standing 12 feet away from her, and he's sitting there like, ma'am,
it's like the guy
can I talk to you?
The guy in the park?
Yeah.
The whole thing? Oh, God.
Yeah, I don't know if it's also because of his ethnicity. I also know the dude was gay as well.
Oh, God.
So I'm sitting there like, and everybody comes out. So this woman comes up and he's like, I've literally just been recording her this entire time because this is what she did.
Yeah.
And then she started rolling around the ground crying, going, he's attacking me, he's violating my space, and just says all this stupid stuff. And he's just calmly sitting there like, ma'am, I just want to ask you a question. Can you please answer my question? She stopped having a tantrum. He's like, ma'am, can you just answer my question now, and then I'll just be on my way. And then she instantly, right after that, goes, he's attacking me! And it just is like, are you a toddler?
Yeah. You're making me think of that Donald Glover thing he was talking about in his stand-up. Did you ever see his stand-up that he did? Weirdo?
No.
He was talking about where he left a voice message, and during the voice message, a homeless guy punched him in the face.
Oh, God.
The guy was, like, schizophrenic, and he's like, hey, it's Donald. I'm just going to let you know I'm going to be a little late picking up Ben. But I just wanted to let you know. What'd you do? Oh, I got to hide. I'll hide in this tree. Get away! It's so funny to listen to. It's so frantic.
Well, let's simply definitely got to look up after this.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, I showed him some pretty good video clips before we recorded, and now you're aware of Drunk Orson Welles.
I am. That's something you guys need to look up in your free time, too.
The French. So, yes.
But after the deaths, we open up on...
James Brolin.
James Brolin's character. We open up on him and his current love interest. It's specified a little bit later that him and Lauren, right? Yep, Lauren.
Yeah.
Who's played by Kathleen Lloyd. So
great in the movie.
Yeah, we wait with Wade and Lauren, and they kind of just have, they're fling this kind of couple goofing around.
Oh, they definitely spooshed the night
before. Their daughters are trying to listen through the door.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the older daughter's eventually like, okay, give them their privacy.
Yeah,
you don't need to be around for this.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not old enough yet.
Yeah, exactly.
But basically, after she leaves, she basically says, I have to go to school, which first where I'm questioning is, I'm like, is he sleeping with some sort of 18-year-old girl who's still in high school?
No, she's like a teacher.
But no, she is a teacher who I believe teaches at the same school as their kids because it is a small town.
She teaches the marching band.
Yeah, and after she leaves, it gets picked up by one of her colleagues, her friends, who works at the same school. One of the things that Wade's daughters ask is, I know apparently their mom had passed, or did they split?
I think passed, maybe. Let us know.
Yeah, I know that they had some sort of hard time, but they're like, I know that's been hard without mom and yada yada. Is Lauren going to be like our new mom?
Oh, yeah. Which, always a fun question.
Yeah, which, obviously Wade is like,
oatmeal.
I don't know how to say to that.
Yeah.
So he kind of reassures them there's nothing to worry about, and yada, yada, yada. One thing to note, too, is that Wade is a motorcycle cop, which is kind of cool. I love how James Brolin had that kind of long mustache.
He was the handsome guy back in the day.
Yeah.
For sure.
Every time I see him, though, I want to hear Josh Brolin's kind of deep Thanos voice.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't think Josh Brolin... I think your voice gets deeper the older you get.
You're just now finding this out?
No, I've known that for a while. But it was something that I never really thought about, because I know that your voice gets a little hoarse the older you get. Mm-hmm. Regardless if you're a male or a woman, but...
It's because you're yelling more.
Right. But I know there's a fair amount, Tom Kenny can still keep up that high-pitched voice for SpongeBob.
Yeah. The guy from Futurama, him not so much.
Who, Billy West?
Yeah. Because last season of Futurama, he sounded really old. Did you not know?
Well, he's 60.
Yeah, but he sounded it, is what I'm saying.
Oh.
Because Billy West has been everything. He's been Doug, Honey Nut Cheerios Bee, Red M&M.
M&M's, yeah. He's been in a lot of Nickelodeon stuff, too. But yeah, I did like James Brolin's acting. And this is the first movie I've seen him in, because I have Amityville, still haven't watched that. I've never really seen a James Brolin film, really. So this is my first. So that was kind of a bit of a treat that automatically made me excited, because I love Josh Brolin. I think he's a good actor, and I know that James Brolin was definitely somebody that people like. That he was claimed very good actor as well. So that was a treat.
I feel like if they had Sexiest Man alive back in the day, he would have won.
He would have. He had a very, very large style.
Very 70s appeal, the mustache, the handsome, hair.
Yeah, and
handsome hair?
Definitely. He definitely had that motorcycle cop appeal, the stereotype of, they look like the cool cop.
Looking like a badass.
With the mustache and everything, yeah. So he comes out, when he's driving his daughters to school, he pulls out this, I don't even know what kind of motorcycle model that was.
Yeah, we're not motorcycle guys. Sorry, folks.
Yeah.
We think they're cool.
If you've seen Jurassic World, it was kind of the same brand that Owen drove in Jurassic World when he rode with the Raptor gang.
Yeah,
So it was a very nice cycle, though. Mm-hmm. And you only see that twice, I think, in the movie, because you see it one time later when he's trying to escape the car.
Yeah,
we'll get there. Which we'll get to that. But for a majority of the time, he ends up riding just his police chopper.
Yeah, police motorcycle.
Yeah, but basically he drops off his daughters, and then he heads over to the police station where the first report of the
hitchhiker.
We go to a hitchhiker. So we
playing a French horn outside of some people's houses.
Yep, who we learn is a domestic abuser who's beating his wife and possibly his child, and which is unfortunate. And there's a bit of backstory on that too that they bring into the movie.
Yeah, I like that they didn't need to have that, and they did. They're actually
it
characters.
Touched up on some issues, yeah. It really felt like a small town, and I think because of that reason that they had ethnicities and put some of these smaller problems in, it made it tighter as a reality film of what the reality of being in a small town is, which is something that very much worked for Jaws. Yeah. So that could have been, I think, another element that they were keen on doing, because this was only 2 years after Jaws, or about a year and whatever compared for development and whatnot. So that really kind of tightened up kind of that town feel, more realism of the movie. But basically, when this dude comes out, he's pushing around his wife, and this hitchhiker, who's just kind of a young teen, almost looks like a runaway, but more just a free-spirited, kind of like a groupie. Almost looks like a groupie kind of person.
Yeah.
He basically goes up and he says, I don't think you should be doing that. And
the guy's
old guy.
What is his defense? That's my wife.
That's my wife, which is okay, that's even worse.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, listen, we're fine with you hitting strangers, but...
Yeah, you should be hitting anybody, but
exactly.
the fact that you come up saying I'm beating my wife, I'm like, that's even worse, dude. You don't have much of a defense there at all.
No, not at all. And he's like, mind your own business. You ever seen the painting of the farmer with the pitchfork and his wife? That's what this guy looks like.
Except he looks like he's at least 20, 30 years older than his wife.
Yeah, exactly. Also raising some questions, yeah.
Yeah, so basically, he's talking to, has some banter between this hitchhiker who inevitably, he says, which one of the kind of witty, it's a very witty hitchhiker dude, so it's kind of funny. Like, he opens his case and he takes off the reed and goes, see, there's a little hole right here. And here he goes, boop, puts it in. And he's like, oh, and it gets nice now.
It's
French
nice and cozy, isn't
nice
that
and
cozy?
nice.
And he closes it.
Yeah, and I love the part where he corrects him too. Like, he's like, that's not a tuba or whatever. That's a French
horn. Yeah.
So he basically shuts
trumpet is what he thinks.
Trumpet,
it is.
yeah.
Yeah. It's a French horn. He's like, well, whatever it is, I'll shove it up there. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I'll shove it so far up your ass that you'll be farting out music. And then he goes inside
for a year.
And the dude sits there and he goes,
that'd be amazing. Farting out music.
Music for a year. Yeah, and he's just sitting there just being like, oh, that sounds great.
I swear to God, every movie we watch for the show, there's always a moment of like,
witty.
What are you thinking? Like, yeah.
It's a witty. But I love that, because that's me. I'd be that sarcastic to anybody.
Oh, that's me as a human. Bullshit. I do that in my own life.
So that's definitely cool.
Yeah, so he starts hitchhiking. He's like got the thumb up, and he sees the car, obviously not knowing it's a demon car, because no one would assume that.
Yeah, and he's practicing in case it's a chick.
Yeah. He's practicing flirting.
Yeah, in case it's a girl who stops him. What does he say?
I don't know. He's like, oh, is there no man in here or something? He sounds like he's practicing pickup lines for a Tinder date.
It's literally like a 1977 version of a Tinder.
Yeah, it really is. Hitchhiking was Tinder, people. Except you didn't know the face.
Yeah, and you never knew if it was going to be somebody who wasn't so fun. Like that game, Roger Strangers.
Oh, God.
Creepy priest.
Oh, God.
Oh, that always got to me whenever you'd see like the meter and you'd be looking over and then they'd subtly move their eyes. There's something that really creeps me out. It's the fact when people go like this and they're like...
Yeah. Mm-mm.
And they slowly look over at you.
Yeah.
But the worst part is like when your meter would be getting high and then you'd slowly look your character over and they'd be like, I see you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually scared me.
See, it's like that. And so basically what the driver would do is he'd like take over just to look at him. All of a sudden they'd be looking at you for the corner of their eye. They jump into your face that you can go, I see you.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're sitting there like, why did I just bail out of the car?
Exactly.
So hitchhiking is a very scary thing. Do not do it.
No.
There's a reason that it is illegal now. Especially with everything that's going on.
Is it really illegal now?
Yes, it is illegal to hitchhike.
And like nationwide?
Yep.
When did that start?
I think it's been a while. But it's because of the fact that there's a lot of people who were kidnapped and a lot of things. So it is illegal to pick somebody up. Unless they are having, like, you know, like they're in an accident or something or they need a ride, then you can. But
you can pick up a guy who's like holding his bloody arm or something.
Yeah, but somebody who is specifically holding out to hitchhike, I believe it is a crime to stop and engage. Because you never know what that could be.
Yeah, don't get in strangers' cars and don't pick up strangers. I'm pretty sure that's what they teach you in middle school. Yeah, stranger danger. But it's a very real thing. So this kind of, I like how they kind of played on that, like, you know, the idea that hitchhiking is dangerous. Because even a lot of people that back then, I'm sure, knew that it was a game of chance. Yeah, it was a different take on what they did in Texas Chainsaw, where they got the guy in there and he cut the dude's arm or whatever.
Yeah, because you never know who's sitting in that car. And as this car is approaching him, it starts to speed up.
Yeah.
And then it narrowly hits him as he jumps out of the way.
It misses him, yeah.
Yeah, and he says some sort of witty one-liner.
He swears at the car.
Yeah, and makes some sort of fender joke or something about putting something up its ass or something.
Yeah. And then it drives back and runs over him 4 times, like back and forth. Yeah.
But he doesn't have enough time to react because it kicks up all the dust. Yep. So it purposely sits there, revs its engine, and then turns around, runs him over.
And the old man sees it, which is a big part of the movie. As
a big part of the plot. That really kicks off, like, what happens with these. So, I mean, like, we end up getting the sheriff's... coming out there to this farm that because they're kind of on a farmland.
Yeah, I mean every set on this movie looks like farmland.
Yeah, but this one specifically kind of looked like a small home with the fence and everything. It looked like they were on a little farm area. So basically, we get the 3 police chiefs. So we get the deputy, we get Sheriff Everett out there, and then we get Deputy Lucas, who's played by Ronnie Cox, who's one of the people in RoboCop. He's one
the
of the
main
board
guy
director.
who gets shot at the end, which always makes me happy.
Yeah. And then...
You're fired!
And then Wade comes out there, and they basically are talking to this guy. And then we learn that John Marley's character knows the wife. He went to high school
with her.
And knew that she was marrying a shitty person, and is constantly trying to convince her and her kid to take her kid and to get out. Not even just a love interest, just to get out and have a better well-being for herself.
Yeah, it's not like he wants to slam; he just cares.
Yeah, and it's definitely noticeable that and that was another very very nice realism is they played on like how hard it is to leave a situation like that. Because, you got those people who are like, where do you go after that? So it was very, very nice to kind of see that realism kind of in that scene. But basically they end up questioning... I'm trying to look up the guy's name, too, just so we have that.
Yeah.
They basically... Well, I'm trying to look because they all look old.
I know. I'm just being... myself.
Amos,
yeah.
played by R.G. Armstrong, which I'm sure has passed.
He looks like an R.G.
Which he was born in 1917, April 7th, and he died in 2012 on July 27th.
Wow, long life to live, dude.
Yeah, he's been
95.
Children of the Corn, Predator. Oh, I bet he played what's his name who's sitting at the desk?
You're
right.
At
the very beginning.
Yes.
He played the Informer for Dutch, but he's been the original Children of the Corn.
You ever seen any of those? I haven't.
I saw the first one.
Okay,
he was in a movie called The Beast Within. It was decent. They had it on Netflix for a while. Another movie I want to cover on this is Evil Speak.
Evil Speak?
Yeah, which we'll get into more later. He was apparently in Warlock Armageddon as well, and The Pack from 1977. I know that they made a remake in 2017. I want to do those because I have a lot of killer animals, and he was also in Devil Dog, which is another...
Devil Dog?
Yeah, which came out in 1978. We'll have to go over those because I have quite a few killer animal movies. They're pretty neat. But basically, Amos, they start to question Amos, and obviously the police department knows that something is happening in terms of domestic abuse, but without, confirmation of sorts, they can't really do anything, and with the laws back then. So
yeah, it's a lot of hearsay doesn't cut things.
Yeah. But they question him, and he basically starts kind of getting defensive about it because they're asking him what kind of cars was it.
And he's like, what, am I on trial? Like,
yeah, and he won't answer. Like, they're just asking basic stuff. What was the car model? Do you know? What was the color? Would they have a license plate? What was the license plate number?
Yeah, standard questions.
Yeah, and after interrogating him, basically, just for these simple answers, he finally says that it had no license plate. It was black, and then I forget what he said he thought the type of car was, because I didn't even know. We didn't even know.
Yeah.
But he basically said, "Oh, and there's no driver. There was no driver from what I could see in it."
Mm-hmm. And of course they're like, "Oh, you're crazy." Like,
well, yeah, and I mean, given the circumstances that he basically just took forever to answer, I would kind of make it a little suspicious too.
Just a touch. Just a touch.
But basically, we go back to the police station. Wade and Everett kind of have a conversation where he basically kind of explains
the deal. With
the deal with them, and how he knows her. Or no, that's the next night. After that, we have Wade go to pick up his daughters, and he brings one of his. Is it Lucas, Deputy Lucas?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
They brings in to go visit their girlfriend. To go visit his girlfriend, who was Lynn.
Mm-hmm.
And Wade goes to see Lauren as well. So they kind of stop by the school. One of the interesting things, too, that was kind of funny is they put this little thing. And when Lauren's teaching, she's directing, she's a composer of the school band.
Yep.
And was it the superintendent? Because I believe it was Bertha, right?
Yeah.
Or no.
She would be the director. She wouldn't be the composer.
Miss McDonald.
Yes.
Played by Kate Murda, I believe. Mm-hmm.
Conductor for the school band. Right?
Yeah, she was the conductor for the school band, and basically, Miss McDonald comes over and she says, she says, do you think this is really appropriate? Do you think this is really appropriate? And she shows her a picture of a naked woman who's kind of laying from an art class, and she goes, do you think this is appropriate for for a student to be imagining his teacher naked?
She was like, yeah.
Lauren's like, yeah, I think it's perfectly healthy in that for that to happen. It's natural. Yeah. And she also knew who drew it just because of the figure. Mm-hmm. I think that clicking is picking up, by the way.
I am sorry. I'm a fidgety mess over here. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, basically, she's like, right away, she's like, I know who it is because of the curves, the way it's drawn. And Miss McDonald gets disgusted and says something and walks away. And then Wade and Lucas pull up, and then Lauren and Lynn go to greet them. Lucas hops out, says hi to Lynn, gives her a big hug. Mm-hmm. Lauren and Wade are just talking through the window, and then his daughters come up, and what were they talking about?
I don't know.
I don't quite remember. The littlest girl was hard to understand. She was very spastic and hyper, but it was something to do with the school. She was dressing up.
We're gonna be in the marching band.
Oh yeah,
they were talking about how excited they were to pull the horses.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
They were gonna be in the marching band. They're gonna participate in that. And as they're talking about that, Wade gets a call that they need to head over because they found 2 more victims, of which they thought was the car, the hit and runner. Mm-hmm. So they head over there, and they kind of do a little bit of investigation there, and then from there we cut to that night. Mm-hmm. And before that, though, before they deployed out to that area, Everett gave him a little speech, which he didn't say much.
No.
But he was kind of more a laid-back guy because it is a small town. But basically what he said to his force was that somebody died just passing through our town, and I don't like it.
Yeah, exactly.
So you could tell that he was definitely one of those people who was like, you didn't have to say much.
You'll find this man.
It was basically, go find this guy, because this isn't okay.
Yeah.
But we cut to later that night, and
the sheriff guy is going to go confront the husband,
the abuser,
husband, right? Yeah.
And he's going to go talk to the wife, and finally, who I believe is Bertha.
I don't think so.
Unless it was Susie, but I don't think that was it either. No, because there's only Bertha and Debbie, and I don't think it was Debbie. So, but basically the wife, he talks away. It says that he's known her, and that's where he explains that he's known her since high school, knew that she was marrying somebody shitty.
Yeah.
Basically goes to confront the guy, because he's yelling at her and trying to force her into the car.
Yeah, force her out of the car, I thought, to go to the bar.
Or force her out of the car, to go to the bar. And as Everett goes, he's basically saying that he wants Wade to go have a drink with him so he can forget what's going on.
Exactly. Which, good thing Wade doesn't go, because
the car ends up pulling up right away, and it goes to hit Amos and ends up missing him.
Yeah, for an old guy, he's really good at dodging cars.
Yeah, ends up missing Amos and hits Sheriff Everett, killing him instantly. One thing they also did to kind of avoid a larger rating, because I believe this was PG too for its time, and also to kind of keep on finances, which is something that definitely changed in the sequel, was that they did not show the deaths. Deaths were kind of off screen like Jaws as well.
Which, I appreciate, because, you can imagine.
Yeah. And I think they said behind the scenes, one of the things, though, that they said was, we don't want... For the death scenes, they were like, we don't want to see creative ways, want to give people creative ideas of how to kill people in a car.
Exactly, with a car, yeah. That's not...
Which is also where the kind of possession part came in, actually, to the story to be written in there.
Yeah.
Which they do some insane stunts with the car later into the movie.
Oh, yeah, those are cool, though.
Yeah, so... we see Everett die off screen. We see him roll towards the camera, wide-eyed and everything in shock. Basically, Deputy Lucas runs out there right away. Wade's standing out there, or he had just went back in.
Yep.
Because he told Everett to go get a drink.
Yeah.
And before Everett jumped out of the way, we had a Native American woman who was sitting out there.
She was taking a stroll.
Just minding her own business, just taking a walk, and she sees the car coming, and she sees it hit Everett.
Yeah.
And that's when we get Denson, the Native American cop, to sit and translate for Wade what happened.
Yeah.
While Lucas is out with the paramedics and stuff and the morticians.
Yeah, and she's saying that, like, she thought it was very spiritual. And,
yeah,
like, she felt a breeze change with the wind or something like that.
Yep. But most of all, after she's done describing the car too, one of the things that Denson finally says after she leaves is, well, there is one last thing that she did say that I didn't want to say, but
yeah.
She said that she did not see a driver
mm-hmm.
in the driver's seat at all whatsoever.
So we get this very theme of, like, something we already know, but the characters are slowly realizing, because it can't just be a coincidence that two people said it, you know?
Yeah. And by then they've already had 4 victims, so we're up to, with Everett.
And Amos gives, like, an accurate model of the car, too.
Yeah. Same thing, saying that was a black car, kind of looked like this and that, and the same thing for the woman. So by this point, Wade is also, because it was a friend of his father's, and he's known him since he was a kid, so...
Yeah.
Became very personal. So basically he takes over as the sheriff of the town and demands that they put up roadblocks all around town to trap this car and stop it from causing any more harm.
But they don't.
They do.
Well, they don't trap it.
They don't trap it, no, but they do set up roadblocks and everything.
It's a very, like, where is it? Where did it go? Like, where could it have possibly gone?
Yeah, because it's a small town, but it's kind of lengthy.
Mm-hmm. The roads in and out.
Yeah, which you'd think for an area that goes through the mountains, that it's definitely going to have a lot of roads and whatnot. So
exactly.
They start to set up roadblocks the best that they can, and they kind of stake out kind of on the outposts of town, trying to catch it, see where it's coming in.
Yeah.
And that that takes place in the morning of the next day, and then we also have the marching band.
Yeah.
Which Wade had told Lucas
to cancel
until further notice.
He didn't. Did he ever say why? Or
I don't think in the hospital. I think he was more still so upset about Everett, which that seems kind of confusing because I don't know if it's more of he's just devastated by his death, or if there was a little bit of homosexuality implied in there.
I think it's just not many people know how to process death, and you got to think it's like he's a cop in a small town. He never thought he'd have to deal with a murder of anyone, let alone a cop.
That's what I was thinking. So I mean,
he's not handling it well. I get the impression that he chose the job of cop in small town because he thought it'd be easy.
Yeah, like Sheriff Brody was kind of the same thing. Where in the novel he says that he moved from the city. Or even Hopper in Stranger Things.
Yeah.
It seems like that's the stereotype of cops. They move from this big city to get away from the daily dose of, this guy was murdered in a horrific way. Let's go to a small town where it's not.
Nicholas Angel and Hot Fuzz, same kind of thing.
Yeah.
You've seen Hot Fuzz, yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of the funny thing about Brody, too. Like, everybody's going in there. Like, you definitely see that. Mm-hmm. That was kind of something nice that I'm glad they didn't kind of bring that stereotype of it's a cop from out of town.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody was like born here or like has been in this town for a while, because that was one of the things that not to dish Jaws, it's just something that's been done since that movie a lot of the time, where it's like, Brody, everybody's trying to contact him about they broke my fence, and he's used to these big crimes. Like, okay, big deal, they broke your fence.
Yeah, exactly.
It's vandalism, but it's not life or death.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why are you freaking out?
Like, there's other bigger problems around this town, like somebody stealing something. So I'm glad they didn't play on this stereotype. Everybody's kind of just born and raised there.
Yeah, which, makes for less stuff to draw focus away from the main thing people come to see, which is the car,
Yeah. But I did like the balance between realism in here, though.
Yeah.
And the horror elements. That was good. But basically, next we go to the marching band area.
Yeah, they're at the racetrack, because behind the marching band there's also kids pulling horses.
Yeah, which is the racetrack for the horses.
Yep.
It's a rodeo track? Or no, horse track.
Yeah, horse track, rodeo.
Whatever.
Horses are there.
But they're practicing for their marching band. They got all these horses. They got the band playing. And then do they have anything else besides the horses in the marching band?
No, we do see like rodeo hands later on, but I think that's all.
That was for them just riding.
Yeah, I think that's all that's going on.
Yeah, so they're just rehearsing. Lauren is conducting, and then we kind of see
The
who
wind.
do we see there?
Oh yeah. Well,
Who was the cop that was there? Was it Lucas?
I think it was, yeah, because I think he meant to go and tell them to stop, but he ended up just watching.
Okay, because yeah, it was because I thought there was one other cop there, John Morris. Was that maybe?
He was like near there. He wasn't there.
Okay.
I didn't think.
Okay. So yeah, Lucas basically hops up on one of these monitoring posts to see. So so basically he's overlooking the band. So we kind of see the band and what they're doing. But in the distance, we get a shot of the car.
Yeah, we see
the twinkle.
Yeah, for a second, and I was like, is my mind tricking me, or is something actually coming? And I love that.
Yeah, and it's the equivalent of it was very suspenseful, much more suspenseful than you would have thought. When I first watched through it, I was like, "That's fascinating," because that was their version of the dorsal fin. Like,
exactly.
Did we see something?
Yeah, like was that actually there? I don't know.
Yeah. So, and then we see it again. People still haven't noticed, but as the car grows closer, the wind picks up and starts to blow up a bunch of dust. And then we see the car try to run everybody over. And we have a little girl and a mom, right?
I think it's a little boy.
Or a little boy and the mom,
yeah,
or
it is.
whatever.
Yeah,
and
they get split up because everyone's like, get him.
Jump off the track, get to higher ground.
Yeah, and and then the horses freak out. It's a whole. I'm surprised there wasn't more death.
Yeah, and the horses freak out when the wind starts to pick up because animals sense everything.
That was the same. That was the same in Super 8, where it's like the dogs went everywhere, like not in the town. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah,
they're dogs. They know.
They have the sixth sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, the horses basically run away, and then we get some of the rodeo hands who hop up on them and try to contain them.
And then they see that the car's coming, and then the mom and the little boy are separated, so they do the very heroic thing of distracting the car.
Yep, and then in which I believe
3 of them get killed.
3 of them get killed, 3 people get killed, and one of them, was it Debbie or was it Bertha? Because it's one of those characters. One of them played the mom. And I believe it was Debbie.
Yeah.
If I remember right.
What happens? Does she?
She's the one, or no, she didn't get run over in the cemetery. Yeah. She's the one who starts. She's the one who starts cursing.
Oh yeah.
Cursing out the car, and that's when we learn
the love interest.
Yeah.
She starts cursing out the car, trying to get the guy to come out, calling him chicken shit, whatever.
Yeah, because they don't know that there's no driver in the car, because right now the windows are tinted.
Why would you think that? Like,
yeah, you wouldn't think that a car would be driving on its own.
Mm-hmm. But she distracts him enough for another teacher to go to a radio of a nearby car.
Yeah, and call for help, which a lot of the rodeo hands died. That's what it was.
Yeah, it was 3 of them, yeah.
So then we get Wade, who's desperate to come out, hears this, knows that his daughters and his girlfriend...
Yeah, they're hiding from it in the cemetery, and we don't get an explanation, but it doesn't want to go in the cemetery. I feel like probably because it is a demon car, and the tombstones are blessed, perhaps.
Yeah, in the sequel...
Do we get an explanation? Okay.
No. In the beginning, they throw this one guy out, and he slams onto the car and possesses the car, and we don't get a reason for that. They throw him out a skyscraper, he lands on the car, and then possesses the car. There's no explanation as to how or why.
The mystery is better.
It was a very dumb way of how they did it.
The idea that we don't know is a lot better.
Yeah. And I wish they kind of gave the explanation, but, it's the same thing with Pennywise. I almost wish they didn't reveal.
Yeah. Well, the same with, I don't know, Child's Play. Did you think it would have been scarier if you didn't know that the doll was possessed by a serial killer? Or having that scene in the beginning?
No, I thought it was even scarier that it could think like a human.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know. It's a very mixed bag. I prefer a mystery to it.
I think there's still a lot of mysteries because they don't exactly explain what Charles Lee Ray's powers are.
Yeah.
We know that he knows voodoo
magic.
But how much black magic could Charles Lee Ray do if he actually set his mind to it?
Yeah, it's fair. Well, and then in the later Child's Play movies, he learns the soul
Body swapping type scenario, how to do it to other people as well.
Well, yeah, and like put his soul into other things as well. So it's multiple. Like he splits off his soul. That's why there's a lot of Chuckies running around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, this never really gives an explanation. I would assume because it is a graveyard that it's either somebody who died.
Yeah.
Or just the fact that it's a demon.
He doesn't want to desecrate a grave, yeah.
It's like that's the final resting place.
Mm-hmm.
In which that's why most spirits are pissed off regardless if they died as a person or not. They don't necessarily run through that kind of final resting area.
Yeah, it would have been an interesting thing if it was like the third Nightmare on Elm Street, where it's like they gotta burn Freddy's bones or something. You remember?
Yeah, which was initially my thought. Maybe it's the corpse of the person who drove it, or maybe there's some sort of evidence remains in there that doesn't want to dig up. Because I mean, if it would have went through there, it would have definitely tore up all the graves.
Oh, 100%.
So, but basically, we spend a good chunk listening to Debbie kind of taunt the car, in which it keeps trying to rev its engine, and Debbie keeps trying to get closer to the entrance, which I thought was stupid.
Yeah, well, and he almost gets her, too, because he, like, hits the wall, and then the top of it falls off,
Yeah, he's able to knock over one part of the cemetery, which right away I was going to be like, well, maybe he can now, because the gate's broken. Maybe it's kind of like a gate thing. But
yeah, maybe it's like a Fright Night situation.
Yeah, which I haven't seen Fright Night yet.
Oh, it's great.
So, but I do want to do a review for that, too.
Oh, it's so good.
But
vampires need to be invited in the house, but not if there's no more house.
That's true. But basically,
cops start chasing it. Yeah.
Well, no, we get Wade who comes in, and that's when the car starts to run away.
Yeah.
When it knows that Wade is there. And then the cops give chase, and then that's when we see another cop die.
Yeah, he gets pushed. He tries to get out of his car, and he gets pushed. The door gets pushed in and pushed over the side of the cliff.
Chases him up the mountain. And then they get to the top of the mountain, and basically he loses track of the car. And then when he gets around this corner, he sees that the car has already flipped itself around and turned itself and is now facing the same direction as oncoming traffic.
Yeah. So
in which he stops, he slams on his brakes, swerves towards the end because there's not a guard railing in that area of the mountain, which was kind of stupid.
Yeah.
That was like guardrail, nothing guardrail, but...
It's the 70s. They didn't care about coding.
Exactly. You would never see that now, though. You definitely have it everywhere.
You'd have to have like 8 railings.
Unless it was abandoned. But basically, the car comes, and right before it rams his car, it stops. John opens his door, and then that's when the car slowly starts to push it shut.
It kind of baits him.
Yeah.
Which it makes me more interested, because it's like, the car's smart? What?
Yeah, it knows how to draw people out.
Exactly.
And with its horn, too, it also gives it a sense of fury. For me, it wasn't as scary as thinking of Jeepers Creepers when that truck is very loud behind you, but it does give you that creepy sense. I mean, you said if it were to pull out at 3 a.m. in front of my house, that would still creep me out. Because it's a black car.
And then you'd realize it's me, and you'd call me an asshole.
I still think it'd be creepier to have, like, that Jeepers Creepers truck, because that's, like, significantly louder and blazing.
Well, it's also a thing of, like, significance to you, you know? You get that, right? Like, because you've seen that movie before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, out of all the things I've kind of seen with horns, that one just kind of got me the most, because it was the loudest. Loud things are what bother me the most.
Really?
And it's a larger truck. You know, like a car, it's scary, but if you were in another car, you could still fight it. Yeah. Where a truck, it's like, if a truck is going to hit you, it's going to hit you.
Yeah.
And it's not a whole lot you can do to really stop that.
It's like the difference
it's heavy.
Between getting hit by a bus or a double-decker bus.
Yeah, if you get hit by a bus, it's definitely going to do it. If you get hit by a double-decker bus...
You're going to explode.
Yeah, and they're built to be solid. So you know for a fact that if a truck is going to hit you, you're fucked.
Exactly. Exactly.
Which is another note to mention, too. Regardless of these people that the car hit, it has 0 scratches on it. It has absolutely no damage.
I feel like it might be a Christine situation. Self-healing car.
Yeah. Well, except for the fact that
because
it would have had scratches in general. You would have thought you would have seen the scratches, though.
Well, they shot at it and nothing happened.
Well, I know. Later in there, they shoot at it, but still.
Yeah.
Which comes after the scene. So basically, John ends up trying to climb out the other door, looks down, realizes he's on a mountain, and his car is kind of teeter-tottering out of balance.
Yep.
Hops back in, which I swear he probably... Which I understand, too. If you're in this situation, you're not going to be thinking logically.
No, you're panicking.
But I didn't even see if they had one of those fence bars to keep in the back of the police car. Mm-hmm. Because I know even 70s cars didn't really have that. Not a lot of the squad cars like they do now have that fence to protect the officers.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't have mattered anyway, because the second it hits a boulder, it explodes. It was the most sensitive car.
Very GTA logic.
Yeah. It's like...
But yeah, the car ends up pushing his car over the edge, and it flips, and the moment it hits its roof on top of a boulder, it explodes. Very GTA 5 logic. Funny video I need to show you after this, by the way.
Okay.
And then after that, the car starts driving down the mountain, and we see the motorcycle. We see Wade on his motorcycle coming to confront the car. And that is the scene where we see him shoot at it. So as the car and him are coming, it kind of gave, which I know you said it too. It gave
duel,
It gave like a duel. But I haven't seen Duel all the way, so I don't know if that happened.
I won't spoil.
But
I won't spoil.
See Duel. Dark Knight.
Oh yeah.
Dark Knight is what that reminded me more.
I want you to do it. Hit me.
It had the motorcycle going against something big, except he wasn't on foot.
Yeah. Yeah, in Dark Knight, it's a motorcycle via human.
Yeah. But basically, Wade stops about halfway, hops off his motorcycle, takes out his gun, and the car is still speeding towards him, and then slams on its brakes and then just stops.
Very unsettling.
Yeah.
Very unsettling.
Completely. The creepiest thing, too, about this is that the engine wasn't very loud at all.
No.
That's what made it more ominous. Like, if you knew that the engine was on, it kind of make you less when it stops. It's like, okay, maybe it's just kind of chilling out. Yeah. But the fact that the only time you heard the engine is when it revved up.
Or when it wanted you to hear it.
Or when it wanted you to hear it, yeah. But otherwise, the car was pretty much completely silent. It was a very silent engine, and that really made it that much creepier, too.
It'll set the tone.
Yeah. So basically, the car is just sitting there. And then we get...
The door opens, right?
No. Wade shoots at the car first.
Yeah.
And we... when he shoots at the car, it has no damage whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And that's when Wade starts to walk towards next to the car.
Yep.
And then it pops open its door. And, Wade is obviously smart. This is like the first time I think I've ever seen somebody be hesitant.
Yeah, exactly.
And just be like, oh, the door's open. We should hop in. No, Wade was actually smart and was like...
cautious about it. Had the gun, like...
Yeah, and I think it's open just enough for him to see that there's no one in the car. That there's no one in there. So that automatically kind of is freaking him out because that's two people that have said it. Because Amos said it and then the Native American, the old lady.
Yeah. But then the door hits him...
The door hits him.
He falls down, and then cut to him in the hospital.
Yeah, which was enough to knock him out. So he kind of, when he falls over, he's conscious just enough, and then passes out. And then we cut to White, and then we wake up, or have him. We come in with him at the hospital, who's waking up. And then, was Lauren in the room already?
Mm-hmm.
Or
yeah.
Okay, so Lauren is comforting him, and then the doctor that's in there is the local doctor, but apparently it was his daughter who was on the bike, if I remember right.
Yes. Yep.
His daughter is the one who died at the beginning, and was thrown off the bike over the bridge.
Yep.
Or near it. So while Wade is talking to him, he apologizes before he leaves the room, in which the doctor kind of doesn't really know what to say.
Yeah. What do you say? Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. But before that too, he kind of gets Wade's anxiety going because he says that we want to keep you overnight.
Yeah, which, yeah.
And it was no offense, but you could see that the doctor clearly didn't want to talk to him because it's like, you're the cops, but also I don't really want to talk to anybody.
Exactly.
Because it's like, it's not that you're not my friend, but you're also the police and you still haven't caught the guy.
Yeah, you're not doing your job right.
Yeah. Which, obviously, you know that, I mean, what do you kind of do in that situation? It's like, you know them as a person, but you're the highest authority to take that on, you still haven't caught it. So, basically, he walks past, and then we have all the bunch of deputies, which is nice, waiting out there to kind of talk to him.
Yep.
And they're asking if he's going to be okay, which the doctor says yes. And then he says you can have visitors, you can kind of go in, just don't stay too long.
Yep.
And they all greet him, basically say, what do they even say? They don't say a whole lot.
No, it's just kind of rambling. Yeah.
Yeah, we saw it, we're glad you're okay, yada, yada, yada. But
one guy's cracking more than ever.
Yeah. But it is Deputy Lucas that is out in the hallway still. And he's pretty much the only one of the police force that is really taking the consideration of supernaturalism into account.
Yeah, because at his point, this is the only explanation for what he's seeing.
Yeah, and we do know that Wade is not really quite ready to accept the fact, even though seeing, because to him, he's trying to still think logically.
Yeah, exactly.
But Lucas is very adamant about saying this, in which Wade calls him into the room, and he basically asks him, why didn't you cancel the marching band practice?
He is pissed.
Yeah, because he knew... Well, also his daughters are there, so I would have been twice as pissed, too.
Yeah, and 4 people died.
Yeah, 3 more people died. Or no, what's it for?
4 people died. The 3 rodeo people and then the cop. And...
Oh, yeah. So, 4 more people, so that we're up to 8 victims now.
Yep.
Basically, he asks him, he's like, why didn't you cancel it? And we basically get Lucas, he's very overwhelmed at this point, and basically just says that between...
He's losing it.
Yeah, between Everett's death and seeing 8 people, and now probably personally blaming himself for the fact that he didn't stop it.
Yep.
But it's very clear that he's not in the right headspace. He's not in the right state of mind.
If it was nowadays, he would have been given a paid leave or something.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, because even in a small town, I don't think, because there's only so many people, depending on what kind of small town.
Yeah, I guess I don't know that kind of situation.
So what do you kind of do that? So I know that's kind of... Well, and not a lot of them deal with that.
Exactly.
It's kind of like a laid back place.
So his love interest, then she's like, I'm going to go and...
Lauren.
Yeah,
Lauren. Wade's love interest.
Yeah, Wade's love interest, right.
Basically, she's going to go home, and then I think she was stopping home.
She was going to stop home to get some overnight clothes, and she was going to stay with them.
Yeah, which Lynn, Lucas's girlfriend, is who is staying with
them right now.
Wade's girls at the moment at the house.
Yep.
And basically, Lauren is... Does she take a ride home, or does she...
Yeah, the Native American cop gives her a lift.
Okay, and so Denson gives her a lift.
He drops her off, and then he's like, I'm going to go to my house really quick while you're getting your clothes. I'll come back.
Okay, and right after Denson leaves, that's when we see the car pull out of an alley, turn on its lights, and then start driving towards Lauren's house.
Yeah.
And then the wind starts to change, and Lauren gets a very unsettling feeling.
Well, like the wind blows something out of her hand and it draws her right into the street. And I was like, oh, is this when it happens?
Yeah, so she's already uncomfortable. So she goes and calls Wade, tell her that she's got a bad feeling.
She's frantic. She's freaking out. She's like, I hear the car. I feel the wind. I don't know what to do. Tell me what to do. And we see in the background shot.
The car is speeding down the street, which was a brilliant shot.
Yeah, because you just see the light getting closer and closer and closer.
Yeah, it was one of those very unaware, but like so creepy to think that even if you had seen it, what would you do? It's
very definitely like people in the theater were definitely like yelling, turn around or something.
Yeah. And it's very like, her house is like kind of in the middle of nowhere compared to the other ones. It's like kind of outside of town, like in a wooded area.
Yeah.
Which makes it that much creepier too, to think that you don't have a car and you're living kind of in the middle of the woods.
Yep, exactly. So not a lot of options. But then the car keeps getting closer and closer, and it jumps a few feet off the ground and just goes through her house and kills her.
Yeah. In which she sees it at the last minute, and she calls Wade and screams on the phone.
It's here, Dad. Yeah.
Which a lot of these were practical.
Real. They drove a car through a house?
I believe so.
Awesome.
Yeah, that whole
Awesome.
scene was actually a house. They used hydraulics, and they used air compressors under the car. I forgot exactly what they said it was used for.
To make it...
Yeah, but they actually bounced the entire
That's
car.
something we missed. I totally forgot. At that point, we're not up to 8 before she gets killed.
I was
We're
just thinking
10,
about that.
because the car does this weird flip thing and crushes
Which
two
they
deputies.
also did. Okay, so yeah, on the way up the mountain after going back to that the practice, the car does jump.
It does a weird side flip.
Yeah, it turns itself and then rolls itself through the air and crushes four deputies, because there was 2 in each car.
Oh,
when they're trying to catch it.
Dude, both.
So we're up to 12. So 8 people died that day.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so that was another practical effect that they did, and they actually had it roll across the 2 cop cars too.
That's some Fury Road crap.
Yeah, and they said it took them a couple of shots, because at one point they overshot the car.
Overshot it. Hey.
They put too much air in it, went over the cop cars, I guess, during production. And
how many cars did they have? Like,
I don't know, but they said it almost hit the producer.
Oh,
it was either the
God.
producer or director. Yeah. So that was pretty interesting.
that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, she gets killed, and then Wade and the other deputies go there.
Yep.
He's obviously very distraught.
Yeah, and we have to know that by that point he just discharged himself.
Mm-hmm.
But he is very, very, very torn up.
Yep.
And has no idea what to do. Denton is with him, and Lucas is with him.
Yeah. And Lucas is like, how did it know where she lived? Like,
yeah, he's trying to explain basically that the wind, how did it know where she lived? How did it know that she was going to be in the kitchen?
Yeah.
As well. Like, who was listening in that room to know that she was going to go? Because she only said it really to Wade, and then she obviously knew that Lynn.
Yeah, and there was no one else in the hospital who could have, like...
Yeah, in that room, that could have heard it. So, I mean, it's kind of like, who else?
Exactly. Exactly. So, yeah.
And then after that, we have... Wade goes back to his house to go check up on his daughters.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point...
does he hatch the plan, or...?
No, he goes into his garage.
Yeah.
I forget what he's going to get. But basically, he... comes into his garage.
No, he's at the police station when they hatch the plan, and he says, like, I'm going to draw it out, because I'm who it's going to want next.
Oh, yeah, and then he heads back to his house to go get his cycle, I think, his motorcycle.
And he's in the
that's
garage.
where he finds the car sitting in his garage.
And it's not, the garage door isn't open, people, it's latched.
and this is not, like, the traditional garage. This is, like, an actual shed garage where you lock up, put a padlock on it.
You need a person to slide the door open and close. And open.
Kind of like a Friday the 13th barn.
Exactly.
It's like a barn door. So we have 2 sections. We have the motorcycle and then the main one where you'd have a car to sit in there, and the car is just sitting there. And Lynn comes out. This scene kind of pissed me off because...
Is it asleep?
Yeah. But basically she comes out. She's like, "Oh, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong?"
He's like, "Go back inside." And she's like,
keeps...
"But what's wrong?" And it's like,
"Yeah,
listen, lady.
Get the hell back inside. He told you to get back inside, so it's obviously something concerning."
It's only when he says it's here that she's like, "My God," and gets back in the house.
Yeah. That scene really pissed me off. I don't know if that was just poor writing or what, but I felt like that kind of took away from the suspense because it gave me more time being pissed off.
I think it was just a very, like, you know, some people are stupid.
Yeah, but that one really pissed me off, especially. Mm-hmm. But after that, we end up getting Wade walking in a little bit further to try and...
he grabs a screwdriver to try and get the lock out.
Yeah. Which he tries to see how it got in, too.
Yeah.
Which the door is completely locked, and that was the thing that really, I think, set off for him, because it's like, okay, even if somebody got out of the passenger door, you'd still hear it or see it open.
Yeah, and the lock's fine.
The lock's fine, it's not broken into, and how would it know the combination?
Exactly.
So I think that's what really sets it in stone for him.
Mm-hmm. This is supernatural. This isn't a joke.
That's really something different.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, after that,
he baits it a little bit.
He baits it a little bit in his garage. and then starts revving up his engine, keeps trying to hit him in the garage, and he keeps...
Oh, yeah, and it revs its engine and honks its horn so loud that it blows out the windows in the house.
Yeah, it blows out the windows in the garage and in the house, and we see... But before that, when it's revving up his engine, you can see Lynn trying to comfort the girls, and that's when it blows out all the windows because it's so loud.
And people are covering their ear.
Yeah, and that's when Wade jumps through the window through the window of his garage into the next section.
He baits it so it can get close enough to him. He jumps on the car and then through the window, gets on his motorcycle, goes.
And then goes out there, and then the car breaks down. The car breaks out of the garage first.
Yep.
Then backs up when Wade gets out there, and then starts giving him chase. And
the cops have already gotten
their plan set up, which basically...
Who's the guy's name?
Denson gets Amos.
Amos, yeah. They get him to get some charges, because I guess it's...
Dynamite.
It's implied he's a minor.
Or something.
Yeah.
Something to do with dynamite. But then again, if he's a wife beater, he's probably doing some other shady stuff, too.
Exactly. I mean, he had a truck that said explosives on it, so he's not subtle if he's doing shady things.
Which we got some justice, because Denson grabs him by the collar and ends up choking him.
And lifts him up. And he's like, I pay your taxes, I pay your salary, I'll sue you. Yeah.
Denson is basically like, sit down
Stone-faced.
and shut up.
Yeah, exactly. It's really cool.
So their plan is to lure it and to blow up some dynamite and blow up the ridge in the mountains to crush it.
Yeah, that was...
Or bury it.
Yeah.
So Wade goes to lure it out. It follows him all the way up the mountain. The police... It's one of those scenes that you have to watch, but really it's just all the police force making their final little adjustments to the trap, make sure it's ready. And then after they get all the charges and everything set up and everything is ready to go, we finally get Wade, who gets up onto the mountain, the very top, above where the charges are.
Yeah.
And him and Lucas are basically standing at the end of the mountain, which gave me tremors.
Yeah.
Even though this is well before Tremors.
Yeah, they were going to bait it so it could fly off, but it's way before Tremors.
Which is 20 years before Tremors.
Yeah, maybe that's where they got their idea, maybe.
Yeah. But it's very cool. It's one of those cliff scenes, and they're basically waiting, and Lucas is already freaked out, so he's trying to get away, but Wade holds him there and says, this is how it's happening. It's almost there. We're gonna jump when I say when it gets close enough.
Yeah, he's like, no, we're gonna die. Like, he's flipping out.
Yeah, and Wade's like, we need to make sure that this car gets close enough, because if we jump off, it's just gonna turn, and that defeats the whole purpose.
And it's gonna go away and kill some more people.
Yeah, so they jump out of the way just in time, in which the car falls off the mountain. There's still not a dent on it.
No.
Even though it flies off a good 30 feet.
Flies off, we hear an explosion, and we see, like, fire.
No, we see it laying there first. That's when they blow the charges, when it falls down at the bottom.
Yep.
And then we hear the explosion, and we see all the mountains collapse on top of it. Which rocks look pretty black.
Yeah, maybe it is a coal mine.
Maybe
town. Maybe
because that's what I was kind of thinking. Because when I looked at it again, I was like, that's pretty black for mountains, even if it was like just a night shot. But you could still see it. But basically, after the fire, after it crushed the car, we see like this big demon cloud, which is...
We see a demon claw, we see a demon face, and like fire making a tongue. And it's very like... Ooh.
Yeah, it's all in this big fire, which is kind of hard to see. Mm-hmm. So I kind of like that, though.
Yeah.
It really kind of... It's like when you watch clouds, like, what do you see?
Oh, God. I always see like Falcor or something.
Yeah, it's very up to interpretation, because to me, I was like, it looks like a demon face. But was that hand? So I had to... Watching this a second time kind of gave me some clarity, because I was like, trying to figure out, because I had to get your clarification. Yeah. I was kind of like, what is that?
What is that?
Because I was like, it's obviously some sort of demon cloud, because an explosion wouldn't act like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is a very visually neat scene. It was very, very well done, and it was a very well sold effect.
Yeah, and then it ends.
Well... Yeah, after the smoke clears and you can see the sunrise. But what was also really good about that shot is the fact that they did the perfect time of cutaways to the policemen, everybody who was out there.
Yeah.
Sitting.
Perfect.
Yeah, and they had the perfect amount of light to make it really sell. Everybody's kind of looking horrified too, so it wasn't just they cover their face. Like they gave a chance to see that everybody saw that. So that was a very, very cool visual effects. But that's pretty much the end of the movie. It was a very popcorn movie, but I liked it because it had the idea there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Who would think just a car is scary, you know?
Yeah, and they did a good job putting it together. Because, I mean, even me, I don't think I could... there's so much you could do with the car.
Exactly.
But so little at the same time.
Yeah, I like you thinking of it of a director's point and me thinking from a writing standpoint. Both of us are like, we don't know what we would do.
Both go hand in hand. Because if the writing is there, you can only do so much as director. You can write anything on paper, but being a director... You also have to write how that's going to work as a writer, too.
That's a lot what they talk about in Super 8, which we're going to cover pretty soon here.
Yep, with Cleo. And that was interesting. And I have to give them kudos. Those practical effects were amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I like getting the idea that they just wanted to make something.
Yeah,
you know?
And they basically just did what Friday the 13th did.
Mm-hmm.
Because they literally said basically the same thing.
Yep.
Because when they asked what we were going to do for Friday the 13th, they said, literally copy Halloween.
Exactly.
And that's literally what they said.
They copied Jaws.
Copy Halloween. And they said, yeah, Jaws, but on land.
Yeah.
I know
which based on just that sounds horrible, but no.
I think I know people gave it a lot of shit. I think for just doing something as simple like that, and because like, what are you really going to do if you're going to do a horror movie? It is basically Jaws on land.
Exactly. Just watch this movie, be prepared to have a few laughs and just have fun. Have fun.
And I'm glad they did in a rural town, because if he did in the city, the movie would be over. Come on, let's be real.
Exactly.
We get the military, and they'd be shooting it with all guns and blasters. And if it didn't die then, it'd kind of be like...
Exactly, man. And it's like... It's so bizarre. You don't see many horror movies with no blood as well.
Yeah, they did it.
There is no blood in this movie.
There is no gore. It really did keep its PG rating. And there wasn't a lot of swearing in it either.
No. I mean, you hear the girls say the SH word a few times... But no F-bombs that I could tell.
No, it was very, very laid back and just very straightforward.
Racially insensitive, but that's the time period.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was pretty racially sensitive overall.
He calls the Native American guy Indian like 7 times. Which by nowadays standards is racially insensitive. It wasn't back then, but now it is.
It was then. It was just a matter of who said it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think overall, though, in terms of movie...
Yeah.
I think that was pretty sensitive overall, that they didn't just have him in there to call him that. You know, like just having the one native just to say that, to kind of make another insult.
Just to make jokes. Yeah.
Yeah, to have that insult. Because, there are a lot of movies that will do that, where they literally just have a minority in there so they could say, to add insult to injury to make you hate the character that much more. And it's like, really?
We won't say any movies in particular, Ridiculous 6. But, yeah, so... The car, fun time. Check it out, people.
Cool thing. And like I said at the time of this video, who knows if it'll still be up on Netflix. I doubt it. I think it's only for the month or two, but...
It's there.
There's a large possibility it'll come back. And with the sequel, we do get which we might or might not cover. Depends on how Nathaniel's feeling. I'll do it. It'd be a very short episode. It'd be like a bonus episode, and it'd probably be like a half hour or less.
Let us know if you want it.
Yeah, if we did it. It'd definitely be short, because there's not...
It'd be shorter than the movie, for sure.
Yeah, it really, like, the last 15 minutes where we get to see the original car, and we get to see Ronnie Cox come back as Deputy Lucas is where that's at.
I like how he was the one guy they were able to get.
Yeah, well...
It sounds like, from what you've told me, it's a movie that was, like, which version of the script they used was based on who got to come back.
Yeah, that whole script, I can't even call it a sequel. I call it that it was a fan film, and they got an original cast member and a car, so they could officially say that it was a sequel.
Like, wasn't that the same with that Friday the 13th online movie?
Yeah.
Lost in the Woods or something, or whatever, yeah.
And they got Kane Hodder to play Jason.
No, I was talking about they got the guy who played Tommy Jarvis back.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
As a paramedic. Yeah.
So,
yeah. All right.
But
does that about do it?
I think that about does it for this episode. Check it out for yourselves, you guys. Like I said, I'm surprised it's not a Roger Corman classic.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a cult classic.
It's definitely got Corman vibes for sure.
Yeah. Low budget, but a fun low budget.
Mm-hmm.
Go open to it just to have some fun.
Yeah. I never get tired of seeing that old school Universal logo either. It's so charming.
Yeah, and it gives you one more movie to see if you like Christine and if you like those kind of killer car movies.
Yeah.
So it gives you one more thing out there to kind of satisfy that hunger for those types of movies.
All right.
So once again, this has been Film Nerds Hour with Noah Sweeto and
Nathaniel Shoemaker. Thanks for listening to us on either Spotify or Anchor, or if this is in the future, wherever else it is.
YouTube or whatever.
Yeah.
Thank you for still listening and supporting us, and let us know what you guys want to cover in terms of movies in the future.
Yeah, we will see you guys next time. Follow us on the Instagram, and
yeah,
we'll
see you later, guys.
Bye.
Stay safe.